Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. Big up to everybody. 12th man is back. If you didn't do so last night, please make sure you do a favour and check out This Is London. An unbelievably lit show again last night with myself, Don, Lawless, D, Goonally, and of course Deji and Goonally going at it. D and Lawless ranting at each other. Well worth a watch. There'll be some clips from that show coming out very, very soon. So please make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking all things Arsenal this morning, in particular for their Atalanta performance tonight, which I'm sure everyone's looking forward to. We're going to touch on the Champions League results and Carabao Cup results from last night as well. We're going to be talking about Martin Ødegaard injury. Doubtful Kevin De Bruyne for the weekend, and of course some players that look like they could be either getting new contracts at Arsenal or in fact leaving in January or the summer. We're going to keep you up to date with all morning news this morning. Please make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and of course if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the notification bell. If you would like to join as a member like some of our members are, then please make sure you join part of the 12th man community and hit that join button and then follow the instructions, and you can of course become a member. Big up to every single one of you that's been here nice and early. Big up to all of you in the chat. Massive thank you as well to everyone for hitting the subscribe button. We've hit overnight 24.4. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to get us on the close way to 25, because we're getting there pretty quickly. So big up to all of you. Make sure you do me a favor. Click on the pinned comment to Manscaped. Do that now. It will take you through to manscaped.com. Click onto beard and face. Select the Beard Hedger, and you'll find that 20% has come off. So that deal is here until the end of the month. Only got a couple of weeks until that one is done. Very croaky this morning. Must mean that I'm talking too much on streams. But I do feel all right. So that's the main thing. My favourite Arsenal away cut shirt of recent times, apart from the one behind me, which of course that way is the bruised banana. I love this one. This one is my favourite away kit of the Emirates era by far. So let's get into it, shall we? Big up to everybody. Now you've hit the like button and subscribe. Let's go and talk football. I wanted to start, of course, with some news that Ange Postecoglou has finally won a game at Tottenham. Not only has he managed to beat Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United and Everton, he can now add Coventry to that list. And my goodness, were they lucky. They were terrible. I watched the second half and the second half only, and they were a shambles. What did I miss in the first half? Well, nothing. Apparently, they had 0 shots on target again, Spurs. They were a mess. They, at the moment, are playing like a relegation fighting side. They are so bad. Coventry, by the way, who have been terrible in the Championship from what I hear, almost beat them. They went 1-0 up, and with 87 minutes on the clock, they managed to turn it around. Yet 2 goals in a number of minutes from Spurs managed to get them through the tie. But Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham looked very, very sorry for himself. Flinging on James Maddison, playing Son, trying to save the game. Brennan Johnson, of everyone, winning the game for Spurs. Now, it is quite, in a way, nice for him, because he did receive an unbelievable amount of abuse, and that is horrendous. We do not condone that. But what I will say is Brennan Johnson is not the level that they want. And he's done well for Nottingham Forest, but was spent a ridiculous amount of money on at 50 million. He was never worth 50 million pounds. Absolutely crazy. But they got the win in the end, 2-1, and they just get the hell out of there and go into the next round. Tottenham, I think, Ange has the Brentford game and the Man United game to save his job, because that Coventry last minute snatch and grab is not going to keep him his job. They are abysmal. Now, Brentford are actually playing very well. I know they've just lost Visa, which is massively disappointing for them, and Ivan Toney's now gone, but they've still got players that can hurt them. And Buemi, I think, is a fantastic talent. They've got hard-working workhorses in their midfield, and defensively they're sound. Thomas Frank's got them well drilled. I fancy Brentford to take something from Spurs, and if I'm honest with you, as bad as Manchester United are, I also fancy them to take something from Spurs at the moment. Spurs are awful. I just literally listened this morning to a Spurs fan calling up around about 11:30, 11:15 last night, and speaking to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy and just ranting at them. And I've got to say, I thought he was absolutely spot on. He wants the owners out. He wants the club to look at themselves. He wants the players who he doesn't think are good enough to be sold. He thinks Ange's not right for the job. And he was just ranting and raving. And it's beautiful to see. This is a club, by the way, that last week were going to beat Arsenal quite comfortably. Now, everyone's got to leave. Everyone's got to get sacked. They really are the gift that keeps on giving, our Tottenham Hotspur. So, let's move away from Spurs, because enough said about them. They are terrible still. Let's talk about this guy, shall we? Because last night he limped off. Now, I don't know how bad it is. I don't know if he's out for the weekend. But, of course, there are definite casts of a doubt over the fitness of Kevin De Bruyne for the Arsenal game now at the weekend. They played Inter Milan last night, Manchester City at the Etihad, and they drew 0-0. Apparently, Inter Milan played very well. I didn't see the game. I only watched the goal show. And, of course, on my TV, I had the Spurs Coventry game on to try and laugh at them, and then TNT on my phone watching the goal show. And there wasn't many goals for quite some time. So actually, I should have probably watched the Manchester City Inter Milan game. But apparently Inter Milan did well. Inter Milan got in behind them a few times and definitely proved that they can have chances and be broken down against Manchester City. But Kevin De Bruyne hobbled off and needed treatment. So does that mean he's out for the weekend? I would absolutely love it if he is, because of course we are missing players as well, which we're going to come on to soon. KDB is a player who I always worry about when playing Manchester City. He is one of their best players, if not the best player, when he's on form. Of course, Rodri, very important. Haaland, goal scorer. Foden, phenomenal. But Kevin De Bruyne is the reason that Manchester City, in my opinion, have got across the line in so many games over the last 5-6 years. He is superb. If he's out, my goodness, it will be beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong, if he's out, it doesn't mean Arsenal are going to walk the game. They've definitely got replacements, trust me, whether it be Bernardo Silva, whether it be Foden. They've got Savinho coming into the mix now. They've got Grealish and Doku. They have got a lot of talent. But it'd be nice to have him out, wouldn't it? It really would. Seeing as we're missing players, let's see what happens with KDB. I have no doubt that he's going to be available. But let's hope that if he is out, then it gives us a little bit of, I don't know if I say confidence, maybe a little bit of a boost to know that he's not about, because he's a top talent. Let's move to Chelsea, because this guy who Arsenal wanted a while back, Mykhailo Mudryk, is apparently available to leave. They've had enough of him. They are open to letting him leave in January. Apparently, Marseille are interested in the 23-year-old, and the Ukrainian winger has said that he is definitely looking at his options now that Chelsea and his self is out of favour with first-team football. It looks now as if Mudryk is down the pecking order. Yes, Sancho has been signed and probably will be their starting left winger now. Pedro Neto is their starting right winger. They've still got Madueke. They've still, of course, got Cole Palmer. And it looks as if Nicholas Jackson could be used more as a left winger. What does that mean for Mudryk? Well, it means that he's definitely not going to be playing. This is one of the biggest flops in the Premier League. It absolutely is. For 60 to 70 million pounds, rising to 80 or 90 million, this guy's done absolutely nothing. It's been poor. It really has. So, what does it mean for Chelsea? Well, they're probably going to be able to sell him for 25 million. I don't think anyone's going to be giving them any more than that. He is not worth any more than that. The guy was never worth anything like what was being reported for him. And I'm so pleased that Arsenal didn't get him. And I remember feeling disappointed with that window, because Caicedo and Mudryk were our number one targets, and we ended up with Jorginho and Trossard. Now, I never remember looking at that window thinking, oh my God, Jorginho and Trossard are shocking. But I do remember feeling deflated, thinking, why can't we get our number one targets? Now, Caicedo, by the way, I would have taken him still at 65 million, which he was reported to. I remember him coming out and making a statement saying, I'm leaving, I'm going to Arsenal. But I look at it and I think, wow, Jorginho and Trossard have actually won us games, which has put us in title races. Caicedo and Mudryk, both at Chelsea, haven't got anywhere near that level. I think Caicedo's a top talent. I don't think he's been phenomenal at Chelsea. He's certainly not shown any of his qualities from Brighton. But Mudryk has been woeful. Absolutely woeful. And you look now and you think, wow, thank God for that. We could have spent a hell of a lot of money on both those players. We could have spent over 130 million on both of those players. Instead, we spent 45 million on Jorginho and Trossard. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But there we go. No, not even that much. Jorginho was 12 and Trossard was 27. So we're talking 40 million. Absolutely crazy. But there we go. Let's move to Arsenal because there's a lot of news. Unfortunately, this guy's out, people. Now, we knew he was out. We didn't know how long he was out, but we assumed it was quite some time. And it looks as if now it has been confirmed that Martin Ødegaard will be missing quite some time. And unfortunately, it's going to be bad news. A lot of people are saying it could be a return in November. Some are saying it could be Christmas. Some are saying it could be longer. We have absolutely no idea, but Arteta has suggested that recent scans have showed that he's got some damage on one of his ligaments in the ankle. It's something quite significant. We're going to lose him for a while. That means it's ligament damage. And I said, if it's bruising, we'll be fine for a couple of weeks. If it's tendons or ligaments, it could be weeks to months. And it looks now as if it could be weeks to months. Now, Mikel Arteta did say at the end, yeah, we hope it's not months. It's definitely going to be, isn't it? And I think he means by months, I think he means, are we going to see him in 2024? Hopefully. I think it could be a bad one, this one. I think this one could keep him out to at least Christmas, New Year. I hope I'm wrong. And I hope that in the November, after the international break, we see both Marino and Ødegaard coming back. That's what I'm praying. That's what I'm praying. Depends how bad the ligament damage is. I've done my ligaments before in my wrist, and that can take weeks. I think it was around 4 to 6 weeks until it was properly healed. With footballers, obviously, they might speed that up a bit with a specialist treatment that they get, but also they've then got to strengthen themselves. And he's going to be one of our most important players. He's one of the best when it comes to working hard with pressing. Is he going to come back from that? Well, I hope so. It looks as if he's going to have some treatment on that. Now, I don't know if he needs surgery on that. I don't know if it's just rest and he puts in a boot, because ligaments are different to fractures, right? So hopefully it's just rest, because I think surgery will put him out even more. So let's just hope now that Martin Ødegaard has a speedy recovery, because we need him big time. I said when the window's shut, who comes in for Ødegaard? Because Smith Rowan's, Vieira are now being sold. No one. Well, that means it's an opportunity for Ethan Nwaneri, doesn't it? More on that later. Let's talk a little bit after Martin Ødegaard about this guy, because there are reports today suggesting that Tomiyasu might actually be available for a transfer. And we're talking about a transfer in January. Arsenal could lose the 25-year-old in January, with Inter Milan, Napoli and Juventus all interested. Now, we heard that the Serie A clubs were also circling Kivior. Maybe they are now looking at both of our defenders. They're looking at Arsenal, aren't they? Let's be real. If you want defenders, you're going to go to Arsenal. At the moment, we're stacked and we're playing well. Defensively, we're solid. I like Tomiyasu. I really do. But if he's not going to be fit, I'd more than happily sell him. I wouldn't sell him this year because we need him, but I would sell him next summer, along with a few more. I said yesterday, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, Kivior, Tierney, Jesus, Partey. These players are injured all the time. If we sold them, we would not miss them because they are not available anyway. I would rather have someone coming in that sits on that bench reliably and is injured, and is injury prone, than a person who sits on the bench, on the treatment room injured. I really can't stress enough how frustrated I am at some of these injury prone players. It does annoy me. Now, Tomiyasu is 25. We bought him around about 22, 23 years old. He has been a solid player for Arsenal when fit. The problem is, people say, get rid of Kieran Tierney, he's injury prone. Let me ask you a quiz question. Who's been injured more for Arsenal, Tomiyasu or Kieran Tierney? The answer is Tomiyasu. So if we want to get rid of Kieran Tierney, we need to be getting rid of Tomiyasu, because these two players can be upgraded upon in terms of availability. I like them when they're both fit. And in fact, I'll say this. When both of them are fit, they're phenomenal cover. Having Tomiyasu and Tierney there defensively, one-on-one defending, abilities in terms of a defender, attributes in terms of a defender, attributes in terms of a fullback, I think we've got two of the best. But unfortunately, both of them are injured. Trust me, it's not good. So let's see what happens with Tomiyasu. If we're going to sell Tomiyasu, we signed him for, I think it was around about 12 or 13 million, something like that. I don't think it was much more than that. So are we going to get 10 million back for him? I think we'll be lucky, if I'm honest with his injury record. I think we'll be lucky. Let's see what happens. Somebody who is going to be staying at Arsenal and looks to be signing a new deal is, of course, Gabriel. Now, we're in the early stages from what we're hearing, but it looks as if Gabriel is interested in staying long-term and committing his long-term future to Arsenal. Now, Gabriel is 26, 27. He definitely does need to sign that long-term contract to stay at Arsenal well into his 30s. He's a player I really, really like. And I think, for me, the partnership between these two, and Saliba and Gabriel, is something that we will need to see at Arsenal for at least the next 5 years minimum. And I've spoken yesterday about Saliba and Real Madrid links. Yes, I understand why he's linked. Yes, I believe it will happen one day. I don't think it will happen for the next couple of seasons. And that's why we need this partnership to continue. Now, people will talk about Timber and Calafiori, but actually I'm quite happy for them to be fullbacks or cover at left back. I'm quite happy for Ben White to remain at right back. We've got a phenomenal defensive unit and it needs to stick together. I don't want to be selling players now. Something I don't like what I'm hearing is fans that are saying, get Calafiori in, sell Gabriel. Why? What the hell has Calafiori done in an Arsenal shirt to justify him starting ahead of Gabriel? Let Calafiori grow. Let Calafiori mould. Let Calafiori start, first of all. We don't know the plans for Calafiori. He might be the left back. And it might just be because of his injury problems, Timber's been there ahead of him at the moment. We don't know for a fact that Calafiori is the absolute guaranteed left-sided centre-half when he's fit. We don't know he's the guaranteed left back. These players need to fight for their place. They don't just come in because they're a nice new shiny toy. They've got to come in and actually get their place and earn their place. And for me, Calafiori has done nothing in an Arsenal shirt yet to justify him starting. I need to see more of him, and I hope that we do later on if he's fit. But for me, it's madness to say start him ahead of Gabriel. It really is, in my opinion. Let's talk about Calafiori because he is back fit in training, and I believe that he's probably favourites to start for tonight. Now, I don't know if he's going to rest one of Gabriel and Saliba and play Calafiori in the middle, or if he's going to rest Timber and play Calafiori at left back. We're going to find out, but he's a player I'm really interested in, and I think tonight is the perfect game for him. He knows how to play against Atalanta, coming from Serie A. This would absolutely make sense for starting him tonight. He's been in full training. He's looking very well. He's looking sharp. I don't actually know what the injury was. I think it was just a knock that he was out for a couple of weeks. He did come on, obviously, against Aston Villa and look good, come on against Brighton and look good, but then we didn't see him against Spurs. So now he's back, he's in training, and hopefully he's going to be fully fit. And I think it's going to be interesting tonight. I really do, because there's a lot of options tonight at the Atalanta game. What do we do? Now, we've got options at left back, Timber, Calafiori. We've got options at right back. Some people are saying rest Ben White and play Timber at right back. We've obviously got Kivior and Timber that can come in to replace and rest Saliba and Gabriel. I expect Raya to start. I think you've got to start him. In midfield, I expect to see Thomas Partey rested. I think Jorginho will be the captain and continue now that Martin Ødegaard's injury is confirmed. Declan Rice, I think we will welcome back into the side tonight. I expect to see him playing now that he's back and had a rest from his suspension. Good to see Rice back, by the way. And then I think we've got a front three where I think he might rotate a bit. I expect to see Sterling start tonight. I expect to see Jesus start tonight. And I expect to see Martinelli continue at the left winger position. So that means he's got an option in the number 10 role. What does he do? Well, at the moment, he started, of course, with Trossard. And Trossard was the person who got the nod in the number 10 to replace Martin Ødegaard against Spurs. And he actually was okay. At one stage, he got so muscled off that he actually ripped his shirt and was still going and carrying on. He is a little tenacious devil, isn't he? I absolutely love Leandro Trossard. He is, for me, one of our better players in front of goal. So that's an option at number 10. But if he doesn't want to continue that and he wants to keep him fit and fresh for Man City, he has got other options. He has got Raheem Sterling, who I actually think should play instead of Saka for this game. We saw Saka limp off at the North London derby. Yes, it was only cramp and he isn't injured, but we need him fresh and refreshed for Sunday. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Saka started because he's kryptonite, that lad. He seems to just keep going. But I really pray that he actually gets the rest he deserves this evening and Sterling gets ahead of him and gets the nod. Now, I wasn't impressed with Sterling's cameo against Spurs, but it was his first game. He's brushed off a few cobwebs. He's looked sharp in training. He looks fit and ready and raring to go. So let's hope that Sterling can be that guy that gets us through. I really want to see what he does this season for us. I really hope that he's contributing in a way that we need him to. That is an absolute option. The other option, of course, is young 17-year-old Ethan Nwaneri. Now, we saw him play as a 15-year-old against Brentford. He is now the youngest ever Premier League player from a couple of years ago. And since then, He has played very, very high level at the unders, and I think he's been one of our best players. Whenever I've seen him, he lights up the game. He looks very confident. He looks fearless. He looks able to carry the ball and drive on the ball. He's got skill. He's got flair. He's got tenacity. He's got enthusiasm. And I think it's time to give him a nod. He is the person I would play tonight. I would 100% play Ethan Nwaneri to replace Ødegaard. That is the player that I want to see playing tonight. And people might think he's not ready. But what's he not ready for? We're going away. It's good experience. It's the first game. It's the equivalent of a group game. And we do not have to must win this game. We can absolutely go in to win it. But if we don't win the game, it isn't all over. It isn't, oh my God, Arsenal are going out of the Champions League. This isn't a knockout stage. I don't think that we are going to lose the game by playing Ethan Nwaneri. So I expect to see him getting some form of minutes tonight. Now, I don't expect him to start, but I would start him. I think Mikel Arteta will start actually quite a strong side tonight. But I want to see him. I really do. I think it's time. Now, a lot of people suggested that it was actually quite a weak team that I put together. My team that I would have gone for Atalanta was quite weak. Please go check that video out. You'll see it with the Ethan Nwaneri thumbnail. Go check out my team there and let me know what you think. Because for me, I actually don't mind saying that I still think that's good enough. Playing Calafiori at left back, playing Timber and Kivior, Ben White, Raya, Jorginho, Rice, Nwaneri, Sterling, Martinelli, and Jesus. That's not a weak side, people. Yes, Atalanta are superb. They are top. Yeah, really, really good side. Just won the Europa League. Deserve to be where they are. Happy to play the Europa League game. But happy to also now be in the Champions League. I don't think our squad is strong enough to win against Manchester City across 38 games. I do think our squad's good enough to win in a one-off game against a team like Atalanta, who I do rate, by the way. So I don't think if we was to put that squad together that I'd be going mental, going, oh my God, he's thrown this game away. Throwing the game away, we'd be playing the kids that were on the bench against White Hart Lane, playing people like Maldini and 17-year-olds I've never heard of. That would be just completely throwing the game and resting everyone for City. So listen, they're a top side. I expect a difficult game. That's why I haven't gone for 3 points tonight. I think we will draw the game. But for me, I'd like to see some changes and some rotation. If we didn't have Man City, guys, if we had Everton at home at the weekend, I'd just say go for it tonight. We can get away with it tonight. We can risk it tonight. But without, I think personally, yeah, we can rotate tonight because we've got Man City. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm praying for, if I'm honest with you. So let's see what happens. Now, there is another option. And big up to Hooks, halftime Hooks, because he shouted this out on the show the other night. There is another option. If we don't want to play Nwaneri because he's not ready, and we don't think Sterling's a 10, we think he's a winger, and Trossard needs to be refreshed for the weekend, what do we do? Well, there is another player that we could play there, and this was highlighted by halftime Hooks, and I thought, do you know what? This makes sense. Gabriel Jesus in the Ødegaard position. He's not a number 9 anyway. He doesn't stay up front. He drops deep. He goes wide. He does pretty much what Martin Ødegaard does, but in a different position. I like him as a wide man, wide left, wide right. I'm not a fan of him as a number 9. Could I be a fan of him as a number 10? Now, as a lot of people were saying, that what Eddie Howe did with Joe Linton is what Arteta should do with Jesus. Drop him a little bit deeper. Allow him to play in that attacking 8 or attacking 10. Maybe, just maybe, that he's onto something there. I actually think this could work, personally. I honestly believe this could work. I think with Jesus there and Trossard in the 9, that could actually work. I quite like it. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Some people in the chat saying, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I actually think it could work. I think it could. So let's see. Let's see where we're at. I'll tell you what I think the team will be. I think the team will be Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Jorginho, Rice, Trossard, Sterling, Havertz, Martinelli. That's what I think the team will be. I think that's really strong and risky for a weekend game. Any of those players get a knock, everyone's going, oh. So for me, I'd rest some players. I think Partey and Saka will definitely be rested. But I don't know about the rest. I don't know about the rest. So let's see what happens. If Saka starts, I'm going to absolutely scream because this guy is just phenomenal. How he keeps going, I just do not understand how he keeps going. It's absolutely crazy. But this evening's game is going to be difficult, very, very difficult. We know that, and I personally feel like there's an opportunity for us to still win the game, rotating our squad. Let me just highlight this from, as he's saying, Edu D at Fraud Yomi. Man saying we should go into the Champions League with a B team. For a club that hasn't won it, the disrespect. Okay, let me answer that. So the reason I'm saying we should go into this game, this one game, not the competition, this one game like this, is because we need to rotate. Because the weekend, my goodness, if we get cropped, we ain't winning that game. I think we're going to struggle to beat Manchester City with this first best 11. If we go into this game with the best 11, respecting the competition, respecting the game, respecting Atalanta, and we go, we won, but we've got no team now because everyone got cropped. What happens if Saliba goes down? What happens if Gabriel goes down? What happens if Saka plays and goes down? What happens if Rice gets a knock? Any of these things can happen. I don't mind if it happens at Everton at home. I don't mind if we've got a run of games of Bournemouth, Leicester and Bolton and we've got a couple of knocks. But I do care when we've got Man City coming up. So that's the way I'm looking at it. So look, we don't beat Atalanta. We've got 7 games. If you guys think we're not going to get through the top 8 playing 7 games of football against teams like Dynamo Zagreb, against teams like Girona away, against teams like who else have we got? Shakhtar Donetsk at home. I'm sorry, we don't deserve to be in the competition. That's for sure. So if we can't get through by rotating against Atalanta, I mean, guys, we cannot play our first 11 in every single game. Do we know this? We cannot play our first 11 in every single game. So if you're suggesting we play the best 11 against Atalanta and the best 11 against Manchester City, and then the best 11 against the Premier League games, because we have to win the Premier League games, we ain't going to do that. This is where we've been left. We've been left with 22 players, people, and 3 or 4 of them are injured. So we ain't got many players. We have not got many players. We have to be sensible here. We really do. So look, Suj, big up yourself, mate. I'm going to read your super chat in a minute. He says, I'll be happy with Raya, White, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, Jorginho, Rice, Nwaneri, Martinelli, Jesus, Sterling. Yeah, listen, I think it'll be very similar to that. I really do. Maybe a couple of changes there, but I think it'll be very, very similar. Also, your super chat here says, big up, Dan. Come on, people. Over 300 people in here. In fact, there's nearly 400 now. Let's get those likes up, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Big up to Suj for that, one of our members. If you would like to become a member, please click join, but hit like and subscribe because it's free. Please, how many likes we got? There's nearly 400 people in here. And at the moment, we've only got 78 likes. Oh, you're letting me down, people. All you've got to do is hit the like button. It's absolutely free. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you join as a member. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a show because we'll be back live later. Now, okay. For the weekend, I am more than happy to say that we need to go into this weekend in a way that Mikel Arteta can balance both defending and attacking. Now, I was asked this question yesterday offline. Someone said, how do you think we're going to approach this? Are we going to go like Villa and Spurs? My instant reaction was, yeah, of course we are. I just hope that there's a little bit of me that says, let's try and do a little bit of both. And what I mean by that is let's take the game to them when it's necessary. There's going to be a point in that game where we can absolutely take the game to Man City. What I don't want is to sit back the whole game and go, oh, well, it was 0-0. We tried. Because actually, did we? Or are we going to go there and just go, just don't lose again? Just don't lose again. Because actually, the way that we've played this in the last couple of years, Manchester City has actually been more important than people give credit for. Yes, we lost the league last season by losing to West Ham and Fulham and not beating them, etc. But Manchester City, if we would have won that game, we would have won the league. The season before, beating them once, we would have won the league. And I look at it and I think, yeah, that's how close we are. Me and LB were talking about this on the terrace the other day. Arsenal need to beat Man City at home and away this season to be guaranteed the title, in my opinion. And if we do that, it might not guarantee it, but certainly for me, I think it will give us the confidence that we can go on to win it. Because we've beaten the best side in the league home and away. Now we've got to do is just do our job. If you look at football on paper and look at it as favourites, if we beat Manchester City home and away, We've changed that already, and it's like, whoa, I didn't expect Arsenal to do that. On paper, Arsenal are actually favourites in every single one of their remaining games. They're favourites to win the league now. Now, I know that doesn't always work, and football isn't played on paper, and actually, most of the time, the favourites don't win stuff in sports, right? But that's the best advantage we can give ourselves. We put ourselves in the driving seat. We put ourselves in a position where we go, job done, your turn to catch us now. Now, I don't know what position you want Arsenal to be in, people. I don't know if you want us just behind City the whole way like this, or if you want us like this. Now, ideally, you want us like this, right? But I don't think that's going to happen. We had 8 points. 8 points that we were ahead of Manchester City. Yeah, they had a game in hand, so 5 points if they won it, and we threw it away. So it's going to be very hard this season if they go ahead of us by 2 or 3 points, or even 4 or 5 points. We can't allow that to happen. So for me, at the moment, we are a point behind Man City, if I'm right. Or is it 2 points? 2 points. If they beat us and it's 5 points, that is not good. That's all I'm saying. That's not good. So we need to go into this game and winning. I think we have to win. Not saying if we don't win, we're not going to win the league. But I think to give ourselves the best chance, I think we need to beat them. So that's why I am looking at this game and I'm wanting 3 points. People said to me, would you take 4 points from Spurs and Man City? Of course I would. But if you said to me, would you take the point now? There's part of me that says, no, I want to go beat them. Part of me says, I believe we can beat them. And it's not because we're playing fantastically well, because I don't actually think we are. It's not because we're peppering goals, because we're not. It's because defensively, we've given ourselves a chance against anyone. From set pieces, we've given ourselves a chance against anyone. So I personally believe we can still go all out and try and beat that Manchester City side. So I'm going to have faith. I actually went with predictions that don't have much faith that we're going to win by either of these games, because I've gone with draws. I've gone with 1-1 in both games, funny enough. But it doesn't mean that's going to be right. I'm wrong quite a lot, trust me, with my predictions. Let's hope I'm wrong here and we get 1-0. I'd take 1-0 now, both games. Let's do it. George Graham style. Let's do it. Before we do close, I wanted to go and share the results from last night's Champions League games. Of course, we've spoken on the Carabao Cup as well, which was, of course, Spurs that we mentioned with Coventry. Quite funny, really, when you think of it like that. So, Bologna 0, Shakhtar Donetsk 0. What a thriller. Sparta Prague 3, Salzburg 0. That's a really good result for Sparta Prague. Celtic absolutely killing Bratislava 5-1. Club Brugge losing 3-0 to Borussia Dortmund. Manchester City and Inter Milan, we mentioned earlier, KDB getting treatment and might be out for the weekend. Let's pray. 0-0. And PSG beating Girona 1-0. At the moment, it's a league table that looks pretty interesting, but you can't really tell much from it in one game. I will look at that game 5 games in, and I'll look at how it looks, and I'll look at that top 8. So let's see what happens. Someone's reminding me in the chat, Michael Oliver is the referee for this weekend. Oh dear. It's not good. When Manchester City pay him to go and actually referee games in Saudi Arabia, should he be allowed to referee Manchester City games? The stats don't look good. That's all I'm saying. But let's be honest. He's not the reason we're going to potentially win or lose the game. We've got to look at ourselves. We can't blame VAR. We can't blame refs. We can't blame anything but ourselves. We are the reason that we are going to go into this game with everything. But first of all, it's Atalanta tonight. Make sure you join us later, people. I will be on Troops TV at 2 p.m. with Troops and Deluded. Make sure you join me over there. Tonight at 6 p.m. is Rival Talk. We're getting all football fans on to talk about the weekend's games and, of course, the preview for this weekend. We're also going to be on this evening after the Arsenal game doing a fan cam. So please make sure that you have liked this video, you are subscribed, and you've hit the notification bell so it reminds you when I'm next on. Big up to every single one of you for being here. Make sure you show Manscaped some love. Make sure you click on the pinned comments now so that we can get you sorted for the Beard Hedger. 20% off deal lasts until the end of this month. If you want to know more about it, go to manscaped.com or click on the pinned comments or take a look at this. Take care, people.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.